Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. This is an online job interview for a full-stack developer position at a global corporation. Arthur is the hiring manager based in London, and Layla is a candidate applying from abroad. We'll see how they navigate technical questions, cultural fit, and the typical flow of a high-stakes corporate interview. Hello. Layla, can you hear me clearly? I think there was a tiny bit of lag when you first joined the call.
Hi, Arthur. Yes, I can hear you perfectly now. I think it was just my headset connecting. Is my audio okay on your end?
It's crystal clear. Great. Well, thank you for joining us today. As you know, we are looking for a full-stack developer to join our international team here at Global Tech Solutions. I've had a look at your CV, and it's quite impressive, but I'd love to hear about your journey in your own words. To start off, could you tell me a bit about yourself and what led you to apply for this role?
Sure thing. Well, I've been working in software development for about 5 years now. I started out mostly focusing on the front end, working with React and basic CSS, but I quickly realized that I wanted to understand how the whole engine works, So I moved into back-end development using Node.js and Python. In my last role at a fintech startup, I was responsible for bridging the gap between our client-facing dashboard and our database architecture. I applied here because, honestly, I've hit a ceiling at my current company. I want to work on a scale that only a multinational like yours can provide. Handling millions of requests is the kind of challenge I'm looking for next.
That makes sense. Moving from a startup to a global firm is a big jump. You mentioned handling millions of requests. That actually leads into my next question. In your current or past projects, what is the most complex technical problem you've had to solve? I'm interested in the how and the why.
That's a good question. Let me think. Okay, about a year ago, we had a major issue with data consistency. Our app allows users to trade digital assets, and during a high-traffic event, the database started lagging. We were seeing a lot of race conditions where two users were trying to claim the same resource at the exact same millisecond. It was a mess. Well, it wasn't funny at the time. I had to implement a distributed locking mechanism using Redis to ensure that we had absolute data integrity without slowing down the entire system. It was difficult because I had to balance performance with security. I spent a few sleepless nights on that one, but we eventually reduced the error rate to 0.
Distributed locking with Redis. Okay, that's definitely relevant to what we do here. Now, since this is a global role, you'll be working with people in different time zones, engineers in Singapore, designers in New York, and managers here in London. Have you ever worked in a distributed team before? How do you handle the communication barriers that usually come with that?
I have, actually. In my previous project, our lead architect was based in Berlin, while I was in a completely different time zone. I think the key is over-communication. Not in a way that's annoying, but making sure that everything is documented. I'm a big fan of using Jira and Slack effectively. If I make a change to the API, I don't just push the code. I write a quick summary of why I made that change. Sometimes language can be a bit of a barrier, too, even when everyone speaks English. People have different ways of expressing urgent, so I always try to ask clarifying questions to make sure I've understood the priority correctly.
I like that. Asking for clarification saves a lot of time in the long run. Let's talk about your tech stack. You mentioned Node and React. We are currently migrating some of our legacy services to a microservices architecture using Go and AWS. Do you have any experience with cloud providers or moving away from monolithic structures?
I've worked with AWS quite a bit, mostly with S3, EC2, and some Lambda functions for serverless tasks. To be honest, I haven't worked professionally with Go yet, but I've been learning it in my spare time over the last few months. I actually built a small web crawler with it last weekend. It's a very efficient language. Regarding microservices, my current company is still mostly a monolith, but we did start breaking off the notification system into its own service last quarter. I helped design the message queue system for that using RabbitMQ, so I understand the philosophy behind it, even if I'm still mastering some of the specific languages you use.
It's okay that you aren't an expert in Go yet. We value the ability to learn over knowing every single tool on day one. Now, let's pivot a bit to soft skills. Tell me about a time you had a disagreement with a teammate or a product manager. How did you resolve it?
Oh, that happens more often than people like to admit, right? There was one instance where a product manager wanted to push a new feature by a very strict Friday deadline. As a developer, I knew the code wasn't ready. It hadn't been properly unit tested, and I was worried it would break the checkout process. We had a bit of a heated discussion. I didn't want to just say no because I know the business needs are important. Instead, I proposed a compromise. I suggested we launch the feature as a beta for only 5% of users behind a feature flag. That way, we met the deadline for the stakeholders but protected the majority of the users from potential bugs. He agreed, and it turned out there were bugs, so we were able to fix them without a total system crash.
That's a very pragmatic approach. Using feature flags is definitely our standard procedure here. Speaking of deadlines, how do you handle stress? When things are going wrong and the site is down, what's your process?
First thing, I breathe. No, seriously. Panicking helps no one. My process is to isolate the variables. I usually check the logs first to see where the failure started. Is it the database? Is it a third-party API? Once the fire is out, I believe in the blameless post-mortem. It shouldn't be about who broke the code, but about why our system allowed the code to break. I think that culture is very important for a healthy engineering team. I've worked in places where people point fingers, and it just makes everyone afraid to innovate.
I couldn't agree more. We strive for a blameless culture here as well. So, Layla, we've talked about your past. Let's talk about the future. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? Are you looking to move into management, or do you want to stay on the technical path as a principal architect or something similar?
That's a tough one. I really love coding. I love the feeling of building something from scratch. So for the next few years, I definitely want to stay on the individual contributor path and become a senior or lead developer. I want to be the person people come to when there's a really hard technical problem. Eventually, maybe I'd be interested in management, but only if I can still stay close to the technology. I wouldn't want to spend 100% of my time in meetings.
I understand. Many of our best managers started exactly like that. Now, I've been doing most of the talking. Do you have any questions for me about the company, the team, or the day-to-day work?
Yes, I have a few. Firstly, what does a typical sprint look like for your team? And how much autonomy do developers have when it comes to choosing the tools they use?
Good questions. We run 2-week sprints. We start with a planning session on Monday and end with a demo and retrospective on the second Friday. Regarding autonomy, we have a core stack that we use for the main infrastructure. That's the AWS and Go I mentioned. However, if you can prove that a specific tool or library will solve a problem better or faster, we are very open to it. We have an internal RFC process where you can propose new technologies. We don't want to be stuck in the past just because it's comfortable.
That sounds very healthy. One more thing. I saw on the company blog that you guys do Innovation Fridays once a month. Is that still a thing, or is it just something for the marketing team?
No, it's very real. Every last Friday of the month, you can work on whatever you want, as long as it's somewhat related to our ecosystem. Some of our best internal tools were actually built on those Fridays. It's a way to keep the creative juices flowing without the pressure of a ticket queue.
That's great to hear. It shows the company actually cares about developer growth. Well, I think those are my main questions for now. I'm really excited about the possibility of joining the team.
It was great talking to you, Layla. You've given me a lot to think about. Our HR team will reach out to you by the end of the week regarding the next steps, which would likely be a technical pair programming session.
Perfect. I'll look out for that email. Thank you for your time, Arthur. Have a great day.
You too. Bye for now. This conversation highlights how professional interviews often balance technical knowledge with cultural fit and problem-solving logic. Layla's answers weren't just about what she did, but how she thought through challenges, which is exactly what global companies look for. Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next video. Would you like me to create a similar dialogue for a different industry, such as healthcare or marketing? Leave suggestions for future videos in the comments. Bye for now.